February 15th, 2012. Yesterday I read a sentence out of Toynbee's World History, a study of history. And the key to what I find fruitful in reading him is that I take his main thesis, his main ideas, and how he develops them. Then I look in my own personal life and see how individually these events have metaphorically transpired in my own life, in my own little civilization that I've lived. Ultimately, what's going on between our right and left ear is our civilization, our own personal and individual civilization. Now, he mentions, I got to continue reading. And the reason why I like reading these guys is because it can help develop an understanding for myself what's going on in my life. So I'm going to reread the sentence and then follow through with the paragraph. For example, when we examine a civilization's age of growth, we shall not be surprised to find that a period in which a society is articulated into a number of politically separate local communities, all sharing one common culture, should be a time of creativity and progress. The stimulus that comes from direct personal intercourse works more powerfully in a small community than in a large one. Life in a small community that is in active and competitive intercourse with neighbors of its own size and kind is more stimulating still, since this is a social structure that combines the stimulus of intimacy with the stimulus of a wider horizon. Now, yesterday when I was reading that excerpt, I likened it to sex and the sexual relationship and long-term intimate intercourse with another individual. Now, the wider horizons also has to do with combining our small experience intimately with another person's small experience, and then expanding our own horizon, which can also be seen in the procreation of the species. A classic exposition of the cultural advantages of a regime of political disunity within a unitary economic and cultural field has been given by Hume in his essay of the Rise and Progress of the Arts and Sciences. Now, this is part of his idea, is that there needs to be a political disunity that balances out the local unity that's going on. But these blessings have their price in the current of interstate warfare. Now, this is really, this is very much in happening right now in our, I hear it being talked about. Having to do with insurance. I have a friend talking about insurance and interstate affairs and stuff like this. Anyway, and a point may come when the toll taken by this is greater than any benefit that the stimuli of variety and competition can confer. If the balance becomes decidedly adverse, the society breaks down. It might be asked why a society does not forestall its breakdown, or at any rate retrieve it, but promptly applying the remedy of political unification to which it does eventually have recourse. Why do people put up with a long drawn-out time of troubles before bringing themselves to get rid of warfare by submitting to a universal state? Now, this idea of a universal state is one of the phases of his development of a civilization, and it occurs obviously after a time of troubles. And I wanted to also refer back to the other day, I talked about this mandala that I painted. And what that basically is a universal state. It's where I unified a great many different aspects, authors, and their ideas in a way that didn't do each other harm but actually benefited each other. In my perspective, it seemed as though they complemented each other, they affirmed each other. Go back a few days from here and you'll see me talking about what that is. It has to do with Carl Jung and the mandala, and how the mandala arises as a unifying symbol in the psyche at a certain phase of development in the psychoanalytic process. The answer is that human beings are creatures of habit, and that the regime of local sovereignties has won such a hold on people's hearts in the age when it was producing a balance of advantage that it takes a long experience of its subsequent disastrous effects to induce its former beneficiaries to abandon their allegiances to it when they have become its victims. Now, this totally related to my life. I could see the metaphor in my life. Now, this is crucial in understanding Campbell and the idea of metaphor. Being able to see a dual vision where you see the actual facts, but you've got a subjective experience. So you got the objective, factual, empirical evidence, but you have a subjective experience of it. These two need to come into a unity, because if they're not in a unity, then you get a disassociation, not only from the subject from the facts, but also the facts from the subject. And there are a lot of people that use facts to destroy people, just as well as there are a lot of people that use facts to destroy their own relatedness to the world. Where was I? Oh, the disastrous effects, the subsequent disastrous effects of a time of the competitive can be fine for a time. I was born into a family I didn't know any different. It worked fine for me, but then I had this huge shock, and everything that I identified with, all the values and everything, no longer produced for me a life-affirming experience. And, well, I'll wait.